everybody? JT Sports back to you guys with another video. And I'm here with the Denver Broncos 2019 quarterback preview. Going to be previewing the Denver Broncos cornerbacks who they currently have on their roster. And this video was requested by Broncos fan That's Me. So if you guys have a team and a position for that team that you guys want me to preview, make sure to comment it down in the comment section down below, and I will make sure that I try to get to that team. So the Denver Broncos, I think they have a pretty good cornerback core for the most part, and they're pretty solid. The first guy who we have on this list, we have Chris Harris. 2018 had 49 tackles, 3 interceptions, and 10 pass deflections. Chris Harris is one of the best cornerbacks in all of football, top 5 in my opinion, and he's underrated in my book. A lot of people don't really talk about him. When you talk about who is the best corners in the game, most people talk about a guy like Jalen Ramsey. Other people talk about Richard Sherman still, which Richard Sherman is still a very good corner, but he's still not what he used to be. But a lot of people, when you think about top 5 corners, nobody really talks about this guy. This guy is really underrated, and he doesn't really allow a lot of passes to be thrown his way. And when he does, he's not giving up touchdowns. It was a stat from a couple of years ago. I don't know if this is true or not, but since 2014 through 2016, he went 2 years without giving up a single touchdown. Now, I don't know if that's legitimate or not, but this guy is the definition of a lockdown corner. And unlike most corners, ever since he became the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos, he has been pretty much consistent. And a lot of cornerbacks, they struggle with consistency. Like we see guys like Josh Norman only had 2 good seasons, and after that, their play kind of falls off. But Chris Harris has been a guy who has been able to maintain that same level of play, same level of consistency year in and year out. And the Denver Broncos need to pay this man, and he's worth every single penny. The next guy that we have on this list is Elijah Holder. Now, Elijah Holder is an undrafted free agent out of the University of Stanford. Denver ended up signing him during the undrafted free agent signings. And he has solid size and length with very good and long arms. He's very good at defending 50-50 balls. But during college, a big knock on him was that he missed a lot of tackles and also doesn't have fast recovery speed as well. And I don't know if I think he can make the roster as a special teamer. And I think looking at him, he has good size, but he probably is more of a developmental project. I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up being placed on the practice squad. So this is Elijah Holder. The next guy that we have on this list is Brandon Langley. Now, he was brought up from the Denver Broncos practice squad in November of 2018. He made a couple of plays during the regular season when he was able to get on the field. He also returned a few punts and kickoffs. And 2018, he had 3 tackles, and that was pretty much it. But I think he has the potential to have a bigger role in this Denver Broncos team. And he's a guy that I'm going to be keeping tabs on as we progress through the off season and when we near the training camp and preseason. Next up, we have cornerback Bryce Callahan. Now, he was listed as the Denver Broncos nickel corner on the website I was looking at that had the Denver Broncos depth chart. It's called owlens.com. And basically, he was the only nickel corner that they had on their team. And with the Chicago Bears, he was pretty solid. He had 45 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 6 pass deflections. I'm going to be looking forward to see how he does with this Denver Broncos defense. I think him as a starter along with Chris Harris is going to be a pretty good cornerback tandem that the Denver Broncos are going to have. And this cornerback core is going to be looking very good in the first year of Vic Fangio being the head coach. Now, obviously, Bryce Callahan, he played under Nick Fangio last season when he played for the Chicago Bears. So he knows the system, has a lot of experience in the system. And it's going to be very interesting to see how good he's going to be with Nick Fangio as the head coach for the Denver Broncos. I think he has potential to be probably one of the best slot corners in the NFL going into the 2019 NFL season. Next up, we have cornerback Devontae Ballsby. Now, Devontae Ballsby was part of the AAF. We already know how the AAF collapsed, sadly. But when he was playing for the San Antonio Commanders, he was one of their best corners, if not their best, probably their best defensive back that they have on their team. And he didn't really allow a lot of big plays on him for the most part. And most of the time, quarterbacks weren't even throwing his way. So he was very good for the AAF. And he has a good chance to make this roster and actually have a considerable big impact for this Denver Broncos defense going forward into the 2019 season. I would be very, very shocked if he ended up not making the Denver Broncos 53-man roster. Next up, we have Horace Richardson. Now, Horace Richardson, it's been rough. He's been around a couple of places. He started out as an undrafted free agent in 2017, got picked up by the Minnesota Vikings out of SMU. He was on their practice squad for a year, then ended up getting waived in October of the 2018 NFL season. Then he was on the Detroit Lions practice squad for a couple of weeks. Then he ended up on the Kansas City Chiefs practice squad for a couple of weeks. Then finally, he landed on the Denver Broncos practice squad. Now, when I was looking up, trying to do research for this video on this guy, I couldn't really find much about him. But he has very long arms, and if he makes his roster, it will most likely be because of his ability on special teams. I don't really see a role to see him being fitted in as a Denver Broncos defensive back. One website that I was able to find a little bit of information on said that he's pretty much a developmental project. So I don't really know if he'll make the roster or not. But everybody on this list has a chance to make the roster. So Horace Richardson, another guy to look out for. Next guy on this list, one of my favorites, Isaac YIADOM. Now, I don't know if I pronounced that name right, but in 2018 had 20 tackles, one interception, and 3 pass deflections. Now, I really like this guy. He's very physical. He has a very nice build for a cornerback, very, very muscular, and I think he's going to get a big amount of playing time this year for the Denver Broncos. I really like what he did last season, considering the fact that he didn't really have a lot of playing time. So, based on his production last season, I'm expecting that this guy takes a step up. And if one of the starting cornerbacks goes down for the Denver Broncos, then I could see him being a guy who could end up filling one of those spots if somebody is to go down, because he was pretty solid last season. He didn't even really get a whole bunch of reps. So this is another guy to look out for the Denver Broncos as well. Next up, we have Kareem Jackson. Now, Kareem Jackson was brought in by the Denver Broncos and free agency, was very good for the Houston Texans, was, in my opinion, their best corner, had 87 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 17 pass deflections. This guy is physical. He's a very physical corner, very solid in man-to-man coverage, and I think he's an upgrade over Bradley Roby. And the Denver Broncos, he on the other side of Chris Harris, that's going to be a pretty interesting cornerback duo to see. And I think they had the potential to be one of the best cornerback duos in the NFL. And this guy, just look at the picture. This guy is very big. He just looks like a physical guy. Look at those arms. Those arms are huge. You don't see cornerbacks nowadays in the NFL with arms like that. Good God. Some guns. So next up, we have Lyndon Stevens. Now, he was an undrafted free agent in 2018 out of the University of Cincinnati. He was signed by the New Orleans Saints, ended up getting waived. He was on the LA Rams practice squad until November. After November, a few weeks after he was released off the LA Rams practice squad, the Denver Broncos ended up picking him up, and he is currently on the roster for now. And the websites and articles that we're reading, they say he's a developmental project, and basically he has the potential to be very good on special teams, and that's pretty much all I was able to research about him. When you have these guys, some of these guys, it's pretty much hard to find a lot of information on these guys and their strengths and weaknesses. Next guy we got on this list is TREY Johnson. Now, TREY Johnson was signed by the Pittsburgh Steelers as an undrafted free agent from Villanova in 2018. He ended up suffering an injury that got him placed on IR, and the Pittsburgh Steelers ended up releasing him. in January of this year. And the Broncos signed him in April. Now, he's a pretty solid and should be able to make the roster. And if he doesn't make the roster, he should most definitely be on the Denver Broncos practice squad because this guy has some high upside. And he was very good for Villanova when he was playing. I actually saw a little bit of film on him last year around the draft. And this guy has a lot of potential. He's a guy who should definitely make the roster. And if not, he can be on the Denver Broncos practice squad. And he should eventually get moved up to the active roster later on in the season when injuries start happening and things like that. So this is it for the Denver Broncos 2019 cornerback preview. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comment section down below. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and NFL content. Also, comment some requests, some teams that you guys want me to do down in the comment section down below. Also, the position for that team that you guys want me to do. And make sure to like the video. And thanks for watching.